So we're furthering little Bailey's recall, okay? Um, and we're dealing with a dog that has no interest whatsoever in food, okay? Mentioned briefly before, the reason why that is because she has never seen food as a valuable resource in her life. Very, very common when people put their food down, no matter what it is, and just allow the dog to graze upon it. It's going to be there. It's going to be there for 8, 10, 12 hours. Why rush? Why take it? I can just eat it at my leisure. If the dog has that sort of thought process, it doesn't have any value. We can't utilize it and use it as a commodity to help us train little Bailey here. However, it doesn't mean to say that she's not trainable. Every dog is trainable. You just have to think outside the box and find a way and find a different motivator that doesn't revolve around little Bailey having some really smoky, stinking sausage to help us train her. Yeah? Anyway, so we cannot rely on food. We can do with time, but as I've mentioned before, she's not with us long enough, okay? So when she does go home, her owners will be implementing a new feeding routine where the bowl gets lifted up. If it's raw food, it gets put in the fridge so it doesn't spoil. If it's kibble, it still gets lifted up and left. A dog will never, ever, ever starve itself. However, a dog will very, very quickly become picky and become very, very choosy and start manipulating us as owners. Oh, he doesn't like that. Okay, when did he tell you that? Old joke, by the by. But my point is, they will learn and manipulate us because we love them and we don't want them to go hungry, just not to eat or choose what they want to eat or what they don't want to eat. Okay, so here we go. Bailey is now on a long line. And why is Bailey on a long? Good girl, because we've added some distance into this recall. Remember the other day, yesterday, whenever it was, she didn't have a clue. She didn't even know what recall was. She didn't even know what come was. She didn't, not the first jot. So now what we've done is we've started her off having her attention, sitting there waiting, looking at us. And as I say, the reason why I do that and start every dog off like that is because I want the dog, or I want to see the dog looking at me. If the dog is looking at me, then I know I've got its attention. So the next step is to add a little bit of distance and wait for her not to look at us. She's not looking at us. Bailey, come. Ha, good girl. And back she trots. Yes, you're not the quickest of movers, are you? You're not like some wired up Cocker Spaniel, but the motion is there. And that's all we want. We want you to understand that when you hear that word, that you come back to us. So I'm purposefully now waiting for her to be distracted, like so. Come. Good. Good. Again, we're not dealing with 200 yards or the other end of the park, but we're increasing that distance. But more importantly, I'm waiting for her not to look at me. Bailey, come. Good. Yay. Good. Well done. Good. Lovely. Good job. So you've got to do this methodically. You've got to do this in bite-sized chunks so a young dog can understand. Distracted? Bailey, come. Good. There you go, buddy. Well done. Every time she's with us or near us or round us, she gets positivity. She gets a reward in some form. Come. Good. Yee, good girl. There you go. Well done. Good girl. Good girl. Now, we've got to do this in a very, very low stimulated, no distractions around us. Hence why we're in the back garden. And it all starts off in your house. Do this in your lounge. Do this in your kitchen. Once they've nailed it 10 times out of 10, then take it out into the back garden. Don't just throw them in at the deep end and walk around Hyde Park with no lead or long line and go, come, and wonder why the dog ignores you. So we've got to set her up for a way that she can succeed. Like so. Bailey, come. Good girl. Good girl. In you come, buddy. Good girl. Now, if she was to ignore me or ignore us, off you get, we don't do that. If she was to ignore me or ignore us, we would remind her with a physical check. So, Bailey, she doesn't because we've taught her the value of her name. But for example, Felix, Fido, ignore. All right, she didn't there, but work with me on this one. Bruno, we would then go up. That would be a reminder for her to then return to us. Good. So it's a visual connection at a distance. If a dog was to ignore us when we do say the name, we can go, oi, excuse me, I'm trying to talk to you. She doesn't need it because we've fed in with this, her learning the power of her name. Bailey, hey, come, good. So now, the second I say her name, she looks at me because she's learned that I want to have a conversation with her. Then the command that I want her to carry out and succeed in follows that. If she was to ignore me, I would then go, up, good girl. And then that's a little bit of a physical check for her to go, oh, right, yeah, sorry, I've got to come back. So, bit of progress with Bailey's non-existent recall. Start off sitting, facing, looking. Then, once they've learnt it, then put distance into it. Then wait for the thing to go away. Then wait for her to be distracted. Then wait for her focus to be diverted onto anything. So we're adding the difficulty in the right way, in the right manner, so that she's not going to fail. Give it another go. Now, previously I would have called her, but now I'm just going to wait for her to look away. Bailey, come. Good. Yee. Well done. Progress, buddy. Progress. Good job. Good job.